This is Hannibal from the HannibalTV.com. I recently did a news update where I had reported on Raw hitting an all-time non-holiday record low rating of 1.5 with Kevin Owens in the main event. And I brought up in that news update that that was not the first record low Raw that Kevin Owens was a part of in the history of the WWE. When he was Universal Champion, it also hit several record lows from my understanding. Now, I do have a personal animosity against Kevin Owens, which I'm going to explain later, but that has nothing to do with why I feel having average or below average looking guy in pretty much regular clothes that you would lounge around your house in the ring, when someone's flipping through the channel, your average person that's not a super wrestling fan is just going to continue flipping. When I watched wrestling, when I fell in love with it, we had the Rick Rudes, Ric Flairs, Undertakers, Macho Mans, Hulk Hogan, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Sting, all of these larger than life characters that really, even Goldberg, you'd be flipping through the channels and you would stop and be in awe of these guys. Mankind, some people have said, well, Mankind was overweight. Well, Mankind looked like a crazy character from a movie. So there's no comparison in my opinion. Or Yokozuna, he was a sumo wrestler that would turn heads anywhere. But this is not personal hatred towards Kevin Owens. This is just my opinion of one of the reasons why there's less interest in wrestling. I have nothing at all against Sami Zayn. He looks like a normal person too. To me, that's not interesting to watch. Now, I may never be a fan of professional wrestling again, and I'm fine with that. But I'm having success as a wrestling reporter, and I'm going to continue doing that. But the purpose of this video and audio clip is I've had some feedback on that of people saying I was jealous of Kevin Owens. So I just want to explain there is heat between Kevin Owens and I. Goes back to we both trained at Jacques Rougeau's during the year 2002. He started training when he was 14. I started training when I was 17 in Calgary. I ran out of money. I had to move back to Ottawa, which is the other side of Canada. The closest quality wrestling school to me at that time was Jacques Rougeau's in Montreal, so I would commute to there. When he was there, he was pretty much going over his matches for the next events that Jacques Rougeau would put on. I was still in the learning phase. Our interactions at the school were very few, if any. Nothing actually stands out to me. He claimed in an RF video shoot before he was signed by WWE, for people that claim this heat has only stemmed out of jealousy, that he trained me. Well, the only people that trained me at Jacques Rougeau's school were Jacques Rougeau and Quebecer Pierre, now known as PCO in Ring of Honor. I had little to no interaction with Kevin Owens. That had nothing to do with any heat that I knew of with him at the time. I just didn't have any interaction with him. We were at different levels, and Jacques only put on events every 6 months or so, and you would practice the match that you would have on that event, and I wasn't involved in any of his matches, so I never had any issues with him at the school, and I wouldn't say we were friends, but I would have said we were acquaintances. So I ended up saving up money, and after about a year, I went back to Calgary and actually enrolled in the dungeon, wrestled in Stampede Wrestling, started getting WWE tryouts. And this was before Kevin Owens was getting WWE tryouts, even though he had been in the business longer than me. 2 of these WWE tryouts in 2005 were taking place in Montreal and Toronto. And these were in January of 2005. These were me working as an extra. So basically, I came out a little bit earlier to visit my family for Christmas, which was like maybe 2 or 3 weeks earlier. And while I was out, I had someone that was well connected with the Quebec indie wrestling scene book me on numerous indie wrestling shows in the area because I had never wrestled in this area at that time, and I wanted the opportunity to wrestle in some of these leagues. Now, I ended up getting booked, I think, on 4 or 5 shows. There was the biggest show that year was a show that was going to take place in Montreal that Kevin Owens was also on, I guess. And shortly before the show, I was contacted by the guy that had hooked me up with all the bookings through his promoter friends and told that basically Kevin Owens had gone to this promoter and badmouthed me, said I was a bad wrestler, not worth bringing in for the show, and got me canceled from that show. So I was good enough for WWE Tryouts, but I guess not good enough for an independent Montreal wrestling show. Sure, that's fine. I don't know what his issue was. He obviously didn't like me at that time. I didn't think much of it at that time because at that time I was getting looked at by WWE, and later in that year, shortly after, I got a job in Puerto Rico where I went on and off for numerous years. I also wrestled for a bit in All-Star Wrestling in the UK. Eventually, I even ended up getting signed by WWE. It's a well-known story that the contract was ultimately rescinded due to me catching hepatitis C from Abdullah the Butcher cutting me with an infected razor blade, which was proven in court in both Canada and the US. So I was actually signed to a WWE contract before Kevin Owens was. Now, in the meantime, I was wrestling here and there in Canada and also building my Great North Wrestling company. And when I moved back to this area of Canada, I kept hearing from wrestlers that Kevin Owens was claiming that I was dangerous. I believe that I am very rough and realistic, but I am far from dangerous in the ring, and having someone spread the rumors that you're dangerous is obviously bad for your reputations. But I heard this from lots of people, too many for it not to be happening. We never ended up crossing paths again since we trained with Jacques in 2002. I am aware that he definitely damaged Jacques' name publicly, saying he was a bad trainer. Well, Jacques trained me very well, in my opinion. I know for a fact he definitely taught Kevin Owens a thing or two. Pierre-Carl Ouellet will tell you that Jacques helped him a lot when they were training to be the Quebecers in WWE. So I think Jacques is a good trainer. I've used lots of his wrestlers on my cards over the years, and they're usually very good hands. So that's the detailed explanation on the heat that I have.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news updates. Support us on patreon.com for $1.99 a month to watch our full shoot interviews ad-free and help our channel grow. Follow us on Twitter at the Hannibal TV for instant updates.